I'm Lisa Beardsley-Hardy. I'm the Director of Education at the General Conference.
Like to do?
Oh, this time of year, actually any time of year, I love to go mushrooming. Yesterday I found 2 mushrooms that are quite rare called Ganoderma lucidum. And I've already got them ready to drink. They're not eating mushrooms, they're drinking mushrooms. Well, I didn't start out wanting to be an educator. I studied theology. That was my passion when I went to college in the 1970s. And I got all the way through theology, and only when I was about finished did I find out that there didn't seem to be a career for me as a woman with a degree in theology. So I had to recalculate, just like the GPS does, and figure out what I'm going to do from this position. So I went on and I thought, if I can't do ministry, at least I can do ministry through health. And so I went on to do a degree in public health, and then from there educational psychology, so that I can work in education.
So you were at one point thinking of becoming a pastor?
Well, I thought ministry, that was my passion. I couldn't think of anything else. And in fact, the work that I do in education and that every educator should be doing is redemptive work. Ellen White says the work of education and the work of salvation is one, and that is restoring the image of God in students. Adventist education is that, restoring the image of God. And it's not just restoring the image in a spiritual sense, it's also emotionally. Spiritually, yes, physically, intellectually, a holistic development reflecting the many dimensions of God and what we were intended to be when God created us.
Education.
There are 3 things that a student who is not on an Adventist campus can do to still benefit from Adventist education. And the first is to read Dialogue Journal. Dialogue Journal is geared for the university student who faces a lot of challenges on a public campus, intellectual challenges, social pressures, wondering how they can witness and do their part in this great gospel commission. And that's available online, dialogue.adventist.org. Another great journal that is geared towards Adventist education is the Journal of Adventist Education, JAE.adventist.org. There are many good articles that also look at the integration of faith and learning in various disciplines, and I hope that there are some budding teachers that are studying in public campuses that would be considering being a teacher in our schools. The third thing that a student could do is enroll in an online class through the Adventist Learning Community. Right. Yes, Dialogue is translated into 5 languages, English, of course, Spanish, Portuguese, French, and most recently in Italian. I did. Much of my own educational experience has been in public schools. I went to 1st grade in an Adventist school, but the rest of my education up to college was in a public high school. Then I had the privilege of studying at 2 Adventist colleges, one in England, New Bow College, and in the Philippines. But after that, 1 year at Loma Linda University, but after that, the rest of my education was on a public campus at the University of Hawaii. I did my doctoral studies there, and then I worked on a public campus as well at the University of Illinois.
How was those experiences like? Did you have any challenges?
There were many challenges. When I was doing my doctoral work, this was the mid-'80s, and it was not uncommon for even faculty members to, for example, be smoking marijuana at a department party, not just drinking alcohol. There was pressures from the faculty for inappropriate relationships with students, and on the campus there was just a general lack of spiritual interest. It was truly a public campus. There were only 5 of us Seventh-day Adventist students on that campus, and there were 26,000 students studying there. We used to get together once every couple weeks just to eat lunch together and share and encourage one another. What helped me most was, of course, my own personal communing with God, but staying part of a church, regularly going to church and being part of the social activities, going on hikes with other young people, just attending business meetings of the church, going to Sabbath school, being involved, playing the organ, participating in Sabbath school, being part of a congregation. My passion is right now to expand what we're doing in the area of health professions education. We've started 3 new medical schools in the last 5 years, and I want to see at least 2 more medicals start here in the Seventh-day Adventist system, because we need to have more healthcare professionals who can carry out the healing ministry of Christ. But my bigger passion is Adventist education in all its forms, from the lowest level, primary level where I started my work, all the way through to university and medical school levels. I think it's very important not to let the pressures around you, the intellectual pressures, the pressures from friends, the pressures of just loneliness. You might be the only person on that campus, or just one other person on that campus who is a Seventh-day Adventist. Don't let those pressures conform you. I think regular participation in a church is important, no matter what, no matter how tired you are, no matter how long your week was. Friday night, put the books away. Sabbath, go to church. Don't study. Sabbath afternoon, go out and do something with the church. Keep the full 24 hours of the Sabbath. It'll be a blessing, not just spiritually, but physically and intellectually, socially. It is difficult because when you're a student, you're driven by deadlines. This paper is due, this exam is coming, I've got to get so many pages read, and there's a lot of pressure and competition, and you're paying a lot of money, or at least you're investing a lot of time, and so you want to have good academic results. And at the same time, there are family obligations, there are social interests. Remember when I was studying, my grandfather got very ill, and so I'd take some time and see him from time to time. He couldn't drive, so I'd go with him to the hospital, and then he died. And I was just so sad. I was sad he died, but I was also sad for all the times that I could have spent with him, and I didn't, because I was being driven by these various deadlines. And that's one of the important things, I think, as a student. Learn how to put things in perspective and to value your family. Those are precious relationships, and even if the grade is slightly lower, if you have invested in family, I don't think you regret those. I don't think you regret taking time to spend a holiday with a family member, taking a little bit of extra time to write a letter or an email to a younger brother or a younger sister, and those other people. And taking time for just socializing, and that's where the Sabbath is such a blessing. As far as love life is concerned, I'm not in favor of trying to convert somebody to date them. If somebody is interested in matters of faith and they're not a believer, certainly support them and encourage, but I wouldn't pick somebody and then try to convert them. I think it really is best to select somebody thoughtfully and pick somebody who already is a believer and who loves the Lord. I would say read your Bible, pray, and go to church. Read your Bible, pray, and go to church.